I better straighten my tie because we are going to La La Land. It's time for Uncancelled, in which we tackle the dark underbelly of the news agenda. And this programme just got 38% more glamorous because tonight, as always, it's Uncancelled USA, in which we head stateside for the biggest American entertainment stories in the company of the Queen of US Showbiz and Royal Reporting, creator of the hugely popular To Die For Daily Royal website, Kinsey Schofield. Hi, Kinsey.
So good to see you. You're my favourite friend.
Now listen, you're too kind. You're making me blush. Now, Kinsey, where shall we start? Can we talk about George Clooney, who seems to have got very involved in the debate around vaccine mandates? Take a look at this, Kinsey. This is George Clooney on the red carpet here in the UK for a film festival.
I support mandatory vaccines, period. I think every company should do it. Listen, I don't care. To me, it's really simple. We can look out for one another and take care of one another, or we can not. It's that simple. And all the people who want to talk about their independence and their freedom, you're free to drink until you fall down the stairs, but you're not free to drive. The minute your freedom infringes on everyone else's, then it stops. And so I believe very much in mandating that, as we did with polio, as we do with measles and mumps and everything else when a kid wants to go to school. And we'll get there, but it'll take some time.
Now, I'm sorry, Kinsey. I'm a huge admirer of George Clooney. I think he's a wonderful actor. He's also an excellent director as well. He's a Hollywood legend. But when it comes to coronavirus and the vaccine, I mean, I'm double jabbed, but I believe passionately it's got to be personal choice. And I have an issue with rich Hollywood celebs pushing the jab.
George Clooney, qualified only by a stint on ER, where he played a doctor. There's all the qualifications you need, apparently. Yeah, no, he also went on to say, to justify his argument, that he listens to podcasts, which we all listen to podcasts. And you know what I've noticed about us listening to podcasts? All of the people we listen to, those experts, they feel like they are right and that their opinion is the only one that is correct. But he went on to talk about the Qatar incident, which happened in 1955. It caused 40,000 cases of polio and killed 10 children. So he's trying to justify the vaccine mandate through that, saying, we've experienced this before, forcing mandates with polio, measles, and mumps. But I'm with you. I don't like to get my medical information or suggestions from celebrities. I like to go straight to doctors.
And of course, we see this at election time when, again, famous Hollywood celebrities will get behind normally the latest Democratic presidential nominee. Arguably, those supporting Hillary Clinton actually harmed her cause because it seemed like the elite were supporting her candidacy, and that might have helped Donald Trump across the line. But, this is another example of celebrity overreach, isn't it? Just stick to your job. You're an actor, act. You're a singer, sing.
I totally agree with you, but as a host, as a brilliant host, I should say, you would not ask that question of him on the red carpet. I just know it. I know that you wouldn't even go there. So we have to look sometimes at the mainstream media, or even in this case, entertainment media. When is it clickbait? And when are they just trying to instigate trouble? And this seems like one of those cases, because I can tell you, I truly don't care what George Clooney thinks about vaccinations. It's the last thing on my agenda. I would ask him what Meghan Markle smells like before I would ask him what his opinion on vaccine mandates is. So I'm with you. I wish that celebrities would stick to their jobs, but I also wish that journalists had a little more, what word am I looking for? I wish that they had better objectives when it came to those interviews and having access to George Clooney. Ask him some questions that...
More integrity, yes. More journalism.
Yes. Yes, it just truly feels like it's clickbait. They want to be the one that has that exclusive soundbite that everybody's talking about. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're creating division. Now, I have no desire to see George Clooney's new movie, The Tinderbox. Congratulations, because what you've done is you've created division.
Yes, I completely agree with you. You're absolutely right. Speaking of creating division, Sean Penn, just a few weeks ago, was on television also ranting about the vaccine. It seems to be a bit of a Hollywood actor syndrome, an obsession with people being vaccinated and a total paranoia about COVID-19. We saw that also with Tom Cruise on the set of Mission Impossible when a few crew hands broke some of the COVID rules and he completely lost the plot. But Sean Penn, well, unlucky in love once again. Tell us more.
Right. His wife, Layla George, she's 29 years old, although her Wikipedia says she's 30 or 31. So I'm confused. She's done a really good job of hiding her age on the internet, and I need to talk to her publicist immediately. But she has filed for divorce. They've been married a little over a year. This is his third marriage. He was also married to Robin Wright, beautiful woman. They had 2 children together, and don't forget about Madonna. That was an exciting time. But yeah, they started dating in 2016. It's been described, their dating history, as on and off, but that's a pretty significant time to date. They had a quote unquote COVID wedding over Zoom with just a few people at the house. And so this is kind of surprising. They're 2 really private individuals. She's also an actress. Fun fact, her dad was an alien in Men in Black. But both of her parents are actors, so it wasn't like this was a way for her to gain any sort of attention into the business. They're both very private people. We see and hear not a lot from them. And in LA, we probably saw more of them because they did set up a lot of COVID-19 stations here to test around the city. So they were featured on local news, actually more often than national news. But 2 really private individuals. This is his third divorce. He's been considered kind of a difficult human being to get along with. So I'm not necessarily surprised, but I'm sad for them because she was a beautiful girl. But you know, he's a 61-year-old man and she's a young woman. So interesting dynamic there.
Yes, I mean, he's a maverick, isn't he? And a kind of bad guy of Hollywood in the best possible sense, almost like the modern day Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, I mean, you just definitely don't want to get on his bad side, ask stupid questions on a red carpet, because he'll get in your face. Paparazzi are terrified of him because as you know, he doesn't deal well with that. So he's kind of like a tough old Hollywood actor. And the reason why there is still that that glamour associated with him as an actor and that respect, I think, is because you don't get a lot of his private side. He's not a Kardashian. He's super private. He doesn't put everything out there. And I think that's why people still admire him at the level that they do. Also, I mean, and when it comes to charity, the man is very generous. He's very creative. I met him one time through his Haiti charity. I think he's a kind man deep down.
Yeah, and he is effortlessly cool, I've got to say. I don't think it's just his money and fame that attracts women. He just oozes this male prowess. He's the ultimate alpha male. And it is reported, Kinsey, that notwithstanding her many relationships, that Sean Penn was the love of Madonna's life.
Well, I mean, Guy Ritchie's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, you're going to go British. I'm pleased to hear it.
We're loving
that. At GBNews, go for Ritchie over Team Penn. Can we also talk about Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk? Now, Elon Musk has congratulated Jeff Bezos for sending William Shatner into space. Poor old Shatner, he's had a bit of negative publicity around his most recent space mission.
I know. I feel so sorry for William Shatner. He's just trying to live his best life. I totally understand Prince William and some of these other personalities that are suggesting that we should utilize going to space for science, for research, and in no way, shape, or form take advantage of it, try to monetize it or commercialize it. I get that. But are we really going to not send William Shatner into space? He manifested this. If anybody deserves to go to space, it's William Shatner. So I feel pretty bad about the negative press he's gotten. And I do agree that we should be careful about what we do up there and how often we spend time and who we send up there. But in this case, I'm going to have to go with William Shatner. I'd wrap my arms around him. He's an adorable old man, and this is the least we can do for all of the joy he's brought us over the years.
Well, as a keen student of 60s and 70s television, I can tell you that William Shatner invented space, Kinsey, so he's entitled to visit it from time to time.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I didn't even know it existed until I saw William Shatner. So this is the least we can do for the man.
Kinsey, I don't know if you've had a steer on this, but I was just reading earlier today that his co-star in Star Trek, George Takei, and him, they don't get on at all. And George Takei has been throwing, I should say, serious shade in his direction. Two big stars of one of the biggest TV shows ever that absolutely hate each other.
All right, well, this show is all about cancel culture, uncanceled. George Takei, I would go as far as saying is the man invented it. He really, truly, years ago, he was getting headlines because he started just tearing into people on Twitter. Do you remember this? He comes out of nowhere tearing into people on Twitter. So I am not even remotely surprised by this. He really utilizes social media. I mean, we might get a funny meme every now and then, but he really utilizes social media as a weapon. So in no way, shape, or form am I surprised by that beef. But William Shatner is just so cool. I don't care what George says. I would, if there was a fire and I had to pick between the two of them, I'd definitely say William Shatner before George. No regrets.
Well, that's right. The only time he gets press, says George Takei, is when he talks bad about me. This is George Takei discussing his Star Trek co-star William Shatner. He said William Shatner was unfit for his trip to space and will be a guinea pig to show what happens to an older body. Very harsh words indeed. Can I get your reaction to Prince William's comments about whether we should be focusing on the problems on Earth rather than space travel? He doesn't normally put a foot wrong, does he, in terms of his public comments? Do you think this was a step too far? Is he getting a bit woke like his father, Prince Charles?
No, that's a good question. I would say I watched this movie and I'm spacing on it. Please forgive me, but it was about us going to space, and I think it was Ryan Gosling was the star of it, and it was a few years ago that it came out. And I thought to myself, have we gone backwards? Like, how is it that we can connect to everybody in the world on our telephones, but going into space is not a realistic option for us anymore? And this is years ago. So no, I think it's important that we continue to push the limit and see what we can do, but we should definitely make our main focus making the Earth and our world a better place for the children of the future. I totally agree with him, but no, we should also push our boundaries and see what else we're capable of doing. Isn't that exciting?
I think it's very exciting indeed. I think the movie you're talking about is First Man.
You are exactly right.
And I'm guessing the only reason you watched it was for Ryan Gosling's amazing acting skills. I
mean, you know.
What are you going to do? Quick word on the Queen as well. Now, the Queen was discussing in a private conversation, but it was picked up by the media, her concerns about a lot of talk but very little action on climate change. Now, some in the media picked this up as somehow that she's become sort of an eco campaigner. I think that was a misinterpretation. Yeah. She was pointing out the fact that countries like China have been a no-show at these important climate talks.
She was. And also, can I just stress that I thought it was so inappropriate that we were like listening in on a private conversation and manipulating it in a million different ways. Let this woman talk to people without us snooping. I found it completely irrational that it was justified in this becoming a big deal. But I agree. I don't think she's gone woke. And I think that the whole point was people aren't showing up. We should acknowledge those people that aren't showing up and we should hold them accountable. But that was, again, during a private conversation. And I found it really inappropriate that it became such a hot topic, because I would hope that people aren't listening in on my private conversations because I'm a heathen, if you must know. God forbid.
Well, a lot of what you say on air is unforgivable, so I can't imagine what your WhatsApp messages are like.
Well, wait, hey, before you knock me off, can I just say that I love Abby so much. I am so jealous that you get to sit next to her. And please tell her I'm a huge fan. I'm not there in the country, so if you could give her a hug for me, that would be amazing. But she is so funny.
She is. I've got to say, two of my favourite women on the planet are you and Abby Roberts. So I think what we're going to have to do is have an extravaganza and get you both on the show at the same time. Although I'm not sure that people's TVs could just manage that much energy, but it's worth a try. I will definitely pass on your kind words. Kinsey Schofield can be found on Twitter at Kinsey Schofield. And, of course, her amazing website, todiefordaily.com. And we will see Kinsey in a week's time. Thanks, Kinsey. Have fun, and we'll catch you a week today. Looking forward to that.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.